Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. The footy is finally back. We are live from Paparoa Park for the opening round of the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership, and it is a grand final rematch with the Stormont Shield on the line. It is Howick Hornets taking on the Mount Albert Lions, and with that, we now welcome in the head coach of the Mount Albert Lions, John Acklin. Well, John, we got there in the end, finally a start to the season. You've had a few weeks to get training under your belt. How's everyone looking in terms of shape and match fitness?
The boys have, they were pretty faithful over the lockdown with their training, and they've all turned up in good shape. So, as you say, it's good to get the White Powder League community back out and, watching some football and playing some football. It's good.
Bit of a difficult one, I guess. You shape your squad and work your pre-season based on what you thought was going to be the season, but it's now going to be a shortened season, obviously, with disrupted preparation. Does it change anything in terms of how you approach this year?
Not really. You've still got to try and win every week, don't you? And that's always been the case. I guess it'll be interesting. Around the shortened season, I think that sometimes less might be more, and I think it kind of looks to me like we've kind of got it right in terms of community football. About 15 games. I think that'll be good.
In terms of last year, you came so close to that title. Is it something that you use to, I guess, motivate a little bit this year, or do you completely put it in the past?
No, we haven't really talked about that. We kind of looked at the season as a whole and worked out some things that we needed to do better. But that game itself, no, not really.
A few new faces in. Nehumi Tiu, who we saw a little bit of at Hibiscus Coast last year, had a really good season, and Tane V comes across as well. Tell us a little bit about some of your new additions.
Well, Nehumi's very fast. He scored a lot of tries for Hibiscus Coast. He's certainly added a little to our squad, and Tane's a very, very good barber, so in terms of my hairstyle, it's good.
Here we go, a little bit of added value there. And in terms of the game plan today, John, obviously probably everyone's going to be a little bit off their best at this stage. Do you employ a very simple game plan today and just work on the basics?
Well, we've talked about some things we want to do. We're lucky we've got some really good, players in our spine, and, I'll leave that up to them.
Awesome. Thank you very much for joining us, John. All the best today, and the best for season 2020.
Thank you very much, Corey. Good to be back.
Okay, and now joined by head coach of the Howick Hornets, Sean Clark, back for another year after the title-winning season last year. Sean, I asked the same question to John. Do you leave last year at last year, or do you keep talking about it? What's the approach?
No, last year's last year, Corey. Definitely going to look back on that year as a win that we're going to favour, and it's really with the season starting like this, it's we're starting a whole new year, so it's definitely out of the back of our minds, but something that we'll always remember for the rest of my life anyway.
You have managed to get a few weeks of training under your belt, but how is everyone looking in terms of match fitness and I guess even just getting hands on the ball? How's everyone looking?
We've come back. We don't have many big boys as such, but definitely come back in a little bit green. We had a bit of an in-house trial last week, and hopefully a bit of cobwebs came out then, and not too many today.
You obviously, have been so close for a number of years. You finally get that title last year and you have a few guys retire. Is it, I guess, a different sort of challenge this year to motivate everyone to go again?
No, I think that just gives opportunities to young boys that we did have here. We haven't really gained much. We got a few from Papakura when they were in dire straits there. But other than that, we had a few rugby boys that showed up this year. And so our spine and everything's pretty much the same as what it was last year. So looking at having a good season with the boys that have come in.
You have lost some real experience to retirement. Nick Wilson gone, Carlos Hotini and Peter Olivetti as well. How do you go about replacing that, and I guess who stood up in the leadership sense?
I don't think we can replace those sort of boys. They had been here for a while. Petey coming back last year and winning the comp with us. So we've got with Nick, that's the white pony. Definitely somebody that's was a leader in our pack. But we've still got Jazz and JT there in the second row. So hopefully those two both step up and become leaders like they always have been.
Tell us a little bit about Tyler Slade. You get him back from Australia, I understand. Tell us a little bit about what he brings to the team.
Yeah, Tyler, had him with my New Zealand Māoris team. Had a chat to him then, seen what he's doing. He's obviously signed with the Warriors with the reserve grade. With them not having a team, he reached out and said if we'd have him, and I said, oh, of course, someone with that sort of experience, he's captain the Warriors under 20s as well, so he's definitely got leadership qualities. So I think he's just going to add to our squad.
And getting Drew Radic back this year, what does he bring to the squad? Obviously, a heap of points. He's always up there in the top point scorers, but in terms of on-field leadership?
Well, Drew, like I said, he's, seasoned campaigner. He's been around. Hopefully he brings a bit of steadiness to our team, good kicking game. But we really want him to run the ball this year. So hopefully he can step up and be a runner, sort of not Phil Carlos's boots, but a running half, yeah.
And I guess one positive, the field's in very good nick for June. It's a nice day for footy. What's the game plan today?
Look, we want to play fast footy. We're not going to beat around the bush. We don't have the big boys, like I said, so we really want to play the game at speed, but that's definitely going to be determined by how much ball we can hold on to.
So, all right, Sean, we're going to let you go and finish warming the team up, and we'll take a very short break before we come on with another interview from Bruce, the chairman here at Howick. But on behalf of the Auckland Rugby League, Sean, thanks for joining us and all the best.
Yeah, thanks, Corey, and thanks, Auckland Rugby League, for finally getting us up and running. Cheers, mate.
All right, let's start with the obvious one. Being a chairman through lockdown of a rugby league club, what's it been like, mate? And I guess how'd you get through it?
Actually, it's been a really good rest. It's been a good break. Not much you can do, So I think it's been a hell of a last 3 or 4 weeks putting it all back together again, and you're pretty much putting the season back together. But it's during the lockdown, didn't really think too much about it, and the committee all got to stand down and relax. So and probably so did the players. So yeah, but we're glad to be here, and it's exciting to have a bit of footy on again.
One thing we should put in lights more than ever, the sponsors who have stood loyal through testing times for all businesses. Give us a shout out to some of your sponsors and the people who are supporting the club this year.
Yeah, so main sponsor, second year on, is Progressive Scaffolding, and so they're wonderful for us. They've committed to us for at least another year. So we're really pleased, and that we've got that sort of continuity. We've got BSR Concrete. These guys have been with us for years. We've got McCamish Metals, PIC Insurance. So all of these guys have been with us for half a dozen years or more, and we're blessed with sponsorship, I have to say.
Now, not the only big event on this weekend here at the club. You got the D Up for Damo fundraiser tomorrow. Tell us a little bit about that. Obviously, tragic circumstances, but an awesome thing you guys are doing fundraising-wise. Tell us a bit about it.
Yeah, so it's a guy who's over in Aussie at the moment. He used to play topside for us a few years back, and he's he's unfortunately had a bit of an accident and a bit of a spinal injury. So the Masters team and the firm are going to have a bit of a trot tomorrow, and we'll do a bit of a fundraiser and give him a bit of dough, hopefully to just to help him through rehabilitation. Yeah.
Of course, encourage everyone to get down here. It should be a really good day with the Masters involved, and obviously some great stuff up for grabs as well. All right, let's get to the footy because we've waited a fair while for this year. Grand final rematch, Stormont Shield on the line. How exciting is it to be back here today?
Yeah, like I said, it's a fantastic day for footy. Who would have thought Thursday when it was hosing down? I'll be honest, I'm a bit nervous. You'd think after all these years I'd just be sitting there and very calm, but I'm really looking forward to it. We've got we had a few guys retire from last year, but we got some new players come along. So yeah, I think we're going to be strong. But Mount Albert, always a strong team, and hopefully we can have a game today like we had in the grand final.
Absolutely, one can only hope. All right, well, thank you very much for joining us, mate. We'll let you go and enjoy the festivities as we count down to kick-off, but all the very best, and thank you for having the Auckland Rugby League today.
Yeah, just before we go, I just want to give a shout-out to, we lost one of our life members during lockdown. He was a, wonderful guy called Ross Holton, so I just want to shout-out to Ange and Maddie and Renee, his family, and Ross he played his junior footy for the Jaguars. He played Premier footy for Ellerslie, and he coached here his young son's side, Maddie, under sixes through to under 18 Open. He coached guys like in that side with guys like Anthony Galling, and Sam Brunton, another NRL player, and we just wish him all the best, and rest in peace, Roscoe.
And there will be a minute's silence before the game today as well, so nicely said. Thank you again for joining us. Enjoy the day and enjoy the season.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
All right, a very short break for us. We're going to throw it to the field now before we count down to kick-off in Howick versus Mount Albert. Stormont Shield on the line in round 1 of the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership. Back in a minute.
So Howick's going that way.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, live from Paparoa Park in Howick for the final kick-off of the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership. It's been a little delayed, obviously, as all community sport has due to the COVID-19 pandemic, but it's great to be back here today. Nice little crowd building on the hill here at Paparoa Park as well. It should be a really, really good game here in the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership opener. We've got the Stormont Shield, which is the Champion of Champions Shield, on the line as well. And two teams packed full of talent coming off the last time they met, which was one of the great all-time games seen in the Auckland Rugby League, an overtime thriller in the grand final, eventually won by the Howick Hornets. It's now my pleasure to welcome in my commentary partner, who I have missed very much over the last few months, Troy Hardy. How good is it to be back?
Oh, mate, it's fantastic to be back. ARL TV, the crew, down here, live streaming with our partner CTAS, bringing you Auckland Rugby League 2020. And be fair to say, Corey, there's no sort of qualifying round here. We're straight into it, and as we get ready for the the Premiership teams to roll out, here's the reserves are on your screen right now, ladies and gentlemen. There's a little break down the edge there. would be fair to say every game counts.
Yeah, that's right, and we'll talk through, I guess, the new look to this, and it is a forced new look. Of course, the format had to change, simply ran out of months there, so we'll start with the Crown Lift Trucks Fox Championship, which is the second division. That will kick off today as well. Of course, delayed again due to the COVID-19 pandemic, so the reduced season will see 8 teams play a full competition round over 11 weeks. They'll play each other once, plus there'll be a repeat of 4 games. That'll be rounds 2, 4, 6 and 8. At the end of the regular season, the top 4 teams will advance to play for the Crown Lift Trucks Fox Championship, while teams ranked 5 to 8 will play for the SAS Sharman Cup. Now, there'll be no promotion or relegation this year, simply not fair given the reduced nature of the season. So instead, the teams who had qualified for the 2020 Crown Lift Trucks Fox Championship will automatically retain that participation eligibility. So as you mentioned, Troy, a short season, and really you're playing everyone once in the second division plus a repeat of 4 games. You can ill afford to drop more than a couple of games early on, or you're going to be really behind the 8 ball and possibly out of the reckoning altogether.
Yeah, absolutely. So it makes today extremely special, being seeing the champion of champions, grand final replay of 2019, and how good was that game? So coming into today's match, the conditions are fantastic, the ground is good. And I know that, you've had some insight in regards to the team lists, so it'll be really good to see how this is going to unfold.
So we're going to preview some of the games in the second division, the Crown Lift Trucks Fox Championship first of all, and these games are taking place across Auckland today. Get down to your local ground if you are out and about. So we'll have the Papatoi Toi Panthers taking on the Hibiscus Coast Raiders. Bit of a change for the Hibiscus Coast. Bluey McLennan gone as the head coach, and they've lost a couple of good players as well. But no doubt they'll be looking forward to another big year. Nathan Ash still running in the halves there, I think. So whenever he's around, they're going to be a threat. The Manurewa Marlins take on the Manukau Magpies. Troy, this one intrigues me a little bit. The Manukau Magpies are under-20s team that's sort of come through the grades. They've been together for a number of years now. You just get the feeling this year might be the year that they finally kick on. Obviously, they won the Sharman Cup last year. Could be a big year for the Magpies.
Yeah, continuity is always key, and they've managed to keep that core group together. Talking to a few people in the know around the traps, probably, the coaches that they're going to come up against, they've certainly got a focused lens on what Manukau Magpies are going to be supplying for 2020.
The Otara Scorpions take on the Waitemata Seagulls at Ngāti Otara Park. That should be a good game. The Scorpions have got a bit of talent back as well, talent which has been playing with other clubs over the last few years, and this one will be a good game as well. The Pakuranga Jaguars taking on the Ellerslie Eagles. Ellerslie was so close to qualifying up into the first division last year, just missed out. Of course, we covered that thrilling game against the Franklin Storm at the back end of the season there. Coach TJ Ashford back on board. They'll be very motivated this year, the Eagles.
Yeah, and talking to a few of the boys in regards to their training, I don't think they've got a big pack. So the word on the street is, but they're looking for speed and mobility, and hopefully that'll keep them in the race for 2020.
All right, let's move our attention now to the first division, and what a year it's going to be. We're fortunate to have some really talented players back from higher levels, New South Wales Cup and Jersey Flag, those competitions. So we'll run through the games and do our best to give you a little preview. And of course, Troy and I have been studying up on some of the team lists, some of the rumours that have been floating around. The first one, Otahu up against Richmond, 2 teams that have some big name players in their side this year. The Leopards, of course, have been on the fringe for the last couple of years. And the Richmond Bulldogs, who have added plenty this year, they'll be looking for a big season. So that game's going to be played at Burt Henham Park, and Willie Stowers back on board with the Otahu Leopards. Willie is a player we've called for a number of years. Troy, what difference do you think he could make to the Leopards in the halves?
Sorry, Corey, I just having a quick chat to the referee there. He's got a few things happening there in the background. Otahu we're talking about?
Willie Stowers.
Willie Stowers, he'd be an added bonus for them, absolutely. Talented player, a lot of class, and he'll certainly add something to the overall dimension of the Otahu back. I know that talking to Connor Purcell during the lockdown piece, the boys were training really hard. They had a pretty good pre-season coming into it. And one of the key things that they did this year was that they had their female team come down and train with the Prems. And talking to both the female players as well as the male players, they really enjoyed that. And I think that's given them a wee bit of extra kudos for the season.
Yeah, and of course, shout out to Otahu. They do the female game very, very well. I think they've got a team in each of the girls' age grade competitions as well. And of course, that Premier team has produced some wonderful players.
Absolutely, and
over the last few years as well.
And there's probably an outside chance that Savannah a young Savannah, you'll have to help me with the surname, an up-and-coming prop forward, might be able to pull something off this season outside of a touch flag.
Yeah, there you go. And if you're not playing at home, Savannah Tafau-Levy, of course, our colleague here in the Comms Digital team, she'll be lining up for Otahu. They're going to play in the second division this year in the women's comp, but they've put together a good roster by all accounts. All right, turning our attention back to the men's first division, Bay Roscoe will take on Point Chevalier at Blockhouse Bay. Good to see Beau Courts, former St. Paul's star player. He's back on board for the Point Chevalier Pirates. Pat Sipley as well, who had an incredible year last year, and Ben Henry back with the Bay Roscoe Vikings as well. Glenora Bears take on the Marist Saints. Now, this Marist team struggled a little bit last year, but they blooded a whole heap of players. You just get the feeling again, we talk about continuity, that Marist team probably primed for a big year.
Yeah, and the thing around the Marist players is that there's just a ton of loyalty. They're there for each other. They play in, week out. And, there's always a strong bond there. So, yeah, Marist will be a tough side with a lot of grit. And like we said at the top of the hour, every game counts, and everybody's definitely in the hunt. So, if one of the teams drop the ball or miss out on getting the 2 points, it could certainly affect the season.
Papakura take on Te Aratu at Prince Edward Park. Changes galore for the Papakura Seagulls. Jody Henry back on board as coach, and I think he'll take the field today in a run around. That's basically a completely new look team there at the Seagulls, so that's going to be an interesting one. And they take on a Te Aratu team that's recruited pretty well. They bring in the likes of Scott Jones and Reece Joyce, who's a player we've enjoyed watching over the last few years.
Absolutely, and look, we'll let the cat out of the bag on this one. We're at Te Aratu home ground next week, live streaming from there. And I really like Jared Tua. What a machine, what a player. He knows how to go forward. Just a fantastic pathfinder.
Mangere East Hawks play host to the Northcote Tigers, a Northcote team that's been there in the finals the last couple of years, and they get a huge boost. We thought they'd lost the likes of Cole Walker and James Waterson. They come back now due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And significantly strengthen that team. But I guess the exciting one for the Tigers as well, Trent Schomkel, who on his day, one of the best forwards in the Fox.
Yeah, and look, on their day, Northcote can beat anybody. They're a fantastic team. They know how to play football at the line, and they can certainly move the ball around.
So those are the games happening today, and again, the draw is available on aucklandleague.co.nz. So we've just got the Premier Men's competition and the reserve grade competitions kicking off today. Next week, the next round starts. That's the women and the mods, and then the following weekend we get into the teenage grades kicking off. So a staggered return, which was initially designed, obviously, just to help clubs deal with all of the rules and regulations that came with COVID-19. Of course, with hindsight, those rules got relaxed a little bit there, but it was a move that was necessary, really, and I think the main takeaway is everyone's going to get to play a bit of footy this year, which really is a huge positive, given it didn't look too good in April.
Yeah, absolutely, mate, and hats off to all the volunteers that are involved with our game across all of the clubs, getting in behind the teams. I know the boys and the girls who are playing topside football are really hungry to get out there to play, and just a fantastic result to be here today at level 1 here in New Zealand, to be able to see our Premiership football out on, and the live stream being brought to you by the Auckland Rugby League. Just a great result all round.
Now let's turn our attention to this match and maybe a little preview of the Howick Hornets, and we'll get some thoughts from Troy on, I guess, the makeup of their forward pack. They obviously lose Nick Wilson, Troy, who's a big loss, but any team that's got Tony Tuia and Clayton Williams there and Jethro Friend running dummy half, well, it's never a bad forward pack. Yeah, and
the inside tip on those two is I understand Jethro's been training the house down. So during lockdown, I think he was with... he had somebody in his bubble that was certainly pushing one another, and he's looking extremely fit and cut. Tony Tuia, he's I've been told by the inside chairman there that he's certainly been putting in the graft, which surprises me, for the big guys. And across the park, interesting to see young Drayden Sorensen coming back and filling in on the centres. They're looking pretty tidy across the board, to be fair.
Yeah, they are indeed, and of course the Mount Albert Lions did everything but win the Fox last year. Was so close. They had a brilliant year. Of course, they got the Root Rooster in their possession, and will look to add the Stormont Shield today. And mostly familiar faces who return. Johnny Faliluamalio at hooker again, but they get a couple of handy players in with the likes of Natane V. But I guess the main one, Troy, and he'll be the man of the moment again, Aidan Ackland in the halves. He was so impressive last year.
Oh, absolutely. And from what I've been told, Aidan's been practicing goal kicking all during the the lockdown piece. And the guy who impressed me last year, who just grew in stature, was Rory Ropati. He was looking strong through the middles, had a wee bit of pace out on the edge. And just while I do this, a big shout out to Tony Ropati, his mum, I should say. Both brothers, Mitchell turns 29 today, and both him and Jordan, the oldest boy, they get up at, what are we now, 2:30, 3:30 in the morning over there in the UK, so welcome in, boys, and happy birthday, young fella, as we get ready for the main clash of the day, the Stormont Shield down here at Reparoa Park.
Who would have thought, all those years ago when we started live streaming out of the back of the car, we'd be granting birthday wishes, Troy, making dreams come true.
And to people across, the ocean, 30,000 miles away in the UK, and also welcome in Pacifica TV as well. We go live across the whole of the South Pacific, and, just fantastic to have everybody here with us, for Rugby League Live. I mean, how cool is it, mate? 2020 and COVID-19, thank God that's gone.
Yeah, that's right, and very much looking forward to getting back to the footy, and you can just sort of feel the enthusiasm, can't you, as we come down here to Paparoa Park. Everyone's super excited to be here. We just had a chat to John Ackland, said there was about 500 people turned up for a pre-season game last week, so you can really feel that people are keen to get back out and watch some sport. And I guess the other cool thing here, we've got families mingling, friends mingling, who probably haven't seen a lot of each other this year.
Absolutely. You can see with some of the shots on screen as we're waiting for the players to come out to the field now. Big following, turning up for today's match. And I believe last week there were a couple of pre-season matches that took place, and big crowds turning up to see that as well. I think people just want to get out, mate. I know I did after 60 days of lockdown with 2 teenagers.
There you go. All right, and as we wait for the players to come out, we will give a plug to the event which is on tomorrow. This is a really cool event, and if you were following aucklandleague.co.nz through the lockdown, you would have seen our article on it, the D Up for Damo cause. And the former Howick Hornets player Damien Miller, who was tragically involved in an accident over in Australia. He's now paralysed. The club doing their bit to raise some money. So there'll be a Howick Hornets Masters versus D Up for Damo Invitational game tomorrow at Paparoa Park. There'll be raffles all day with a sausage sizzle. All funds raised to go to the cause for Damien Miller on his road to recovery. There'll be a signed jersey from last year, the Fox winning team as well, and a few other bits and pieces going on. So kickoff for that one will be at 2 p.m, and crucially the bar will be open at 3 p.m, and I dare say the firm will have a good presence down there, and we can see them up on the hill as per usual with their chairs and those very high-tech cut-off legs which allow them to sit there and sip a couple of orange juices throughout the game. But this is what we've missed about local footy, people getting down here and enjoying it, and no doubt that will be a big part of what the Howick Hornets do today, how that crowd drives them. It tends to get fairly vocal down here, Troy.
And just as you said that, my friend, there's a double chirp from the referees, so we're not far away now, ladies and gentlemen, as the teams get ready to come onto the park. And looking at the supporters there from Paparoa up on the hill there's the famous chairs where they cut the back legs off just so they're all level on the bank. And big, strong following from both sides here today as we get excited for kickoff. And you can hear Eagle One flying over the top, and maybe somebody's trying to get a peeky view of how footy's going.
So, of course, competition points on the line today, but the Stormont Shield, which is our traditional Champion of Champions match, tends to always produce a good game, and I guess from a confidence side of it, a chance to get a trophy in the cabinet early on. So that's on the line as well, and the competition points will be crucial as well. Both teams will be looking at this one, and if you can pick up a win over what is likely to be a top 4 or thereabouts side come finals time, and that's going to be huge for your club. So plenty on the line today. Of course, there are changes to the Fox format as well, and the reduced season will see 11 regular season rounds played. That's everyone playing each other once, and the playoff format will see the top 5 sides, I should say, rather than the usual top 4, advance to the postseason. And again, no promotion or relegation in the Premierships this year due to the shortened season. Instead, for next year, the teams who had qualified for this year will automatically retain their participation. But top 5 teams going through is the big one rather than the top 4. And looking at some of the teams on paper, that's probably going to be a really good thing, because I think there's more than enough quality teams this year for us to have a 5-team final series. So we'll wait to see how that plays out over the next 3 months or so. All right, not long now until the players come out. And in fact, as we say that, Jethro Friend leads the Howick Hornets out in that brand new strip, celebrating the Premiership. So Jethro Friend leading the boys out. There's Lynn Cameron, Auckland Rugby League director in the background. So the Hornets now making their way out. Mount Albert to come, and there will be a minute's silence before the kickoff in this match, and we'll talk to that as the Lions make their way back out onto the field. The Hornets looking pretty sharp in that new kit though, Troy.
Yeah, mate. There's, and I think it's a wee bit of a throwback to their traditional colours.
Okay.
You know, back a wee time ago where you were probably a young fella running around primary school. I'm picking on this one. But, yeah, you're right. Looks pretty flash. And good to see them out here. And I think they're looking pretty tidy too, aren't they?
Yeah, good-looking roster, certainly on paper. Of course, they do lose such good experience for the likes of Nick Wilson, Carlos Hortony retiring, Peter Olivetti, who was one of their best last year. And I guess whenever you lose 3 or 4 players like that, it's always really hard to replace. But have maintained, I guess, the core. Their spine remains fairly well unchanged, and Drew Radich returns, which is a handy pickup for them as well. And they get a new fullback in the shape of a young fella, Tarkin Lolaselo, 20-year-old. He's an East Tamaki Rugby Union product, but he's been over in Australia playing for the Queensland Colts. So let's see what he can add at fullback. So the Lions now making their way out off screen onto the field, and the minute's silence today will be in honour of Howick Hornets life member Ross Holtum, who died a couple of weeks ago. He coached reserves for many years, including in 2011 when the Howick Hornets won their first Fox title. True legend of the Howick Hornets, and a nice gesture from the club today. So to family and friends, our thoughts, and we now pause for the minute's silence. So you got minute silence for Ross Holtum. And now the two teams make their way into position for the kickoff. Our middle referee today, one of the best in the business, Chris McMillan, who has spent the last few years over in Australia at NRL level. And Kevin Arken and Corey Jewell, his assistants. Let's run you through the team lists quickly, and they are pretty well as appears on page. Sorensen comes into the centres, Radich in the halves, and Jethro Friend will be the hooker for the Howick Hornets. He'll captain the side as well. Lelinga, the fullback for the Mount Albert Lions. Fraser and Ackland, the new look halves pairing. And watch out as well for Natane V in the number 13 jersey. Had a great year for Mangere East last year. Really crafty player in the middle of the park. He'll be set for a good year, and it's a strong bench for the Lions as well. Moses Zongi and Regan McLennan. So the Hornets to kick off. They will kick down towards the shop's end here at Paparoa Park. The footy is back. Round 1 of the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership. And it will be the Mount Albert Lions with first use of the football. Of course, if you watched the Fox last year, the grand final will need no introduction. A brilliant game, one of the best games we've seen in Auckland in recent memory. Howick Hornets winning that one in double overtime. Jesse Albrecht tried. Jesse's retired this year, so there'll be no repeat of those heroics. But plenty of talent coming into this Howick Hornets back line. Falilua Malio now clears the ruck, goes to Nutane V, and they bump the ball forward, and it's a pretty solid opening set here from the Lions. They're about 5 short of halfway. Falilua Malio will shuffle, goes to Fraser, and then a bumping carry forward. And it's from the number 4, Matthew Kalikali. Felilo Malio goes out the back. Ackland with a high one. He gets hit as well. Let's wait to see if that was all clean. It's claimed by Lolasilo at the back, and the defending champions have their first touch of the football. Waited a long time for this. Of course, the season was initially meant to kick off in April. Good line speed from Mount Albert, and they drive it back. Involved there was Moni Tafui, the former junior warrior. Friend will come centre field. Up top is Isaiah Vangana. Got caught up in the ruck there, but play on is the call. My apologies. The 12 is, in fact, Preston Ricky by the look of it. Late jersey swap there. So last coming up now. Friend goes back. And it's a clearing kick from Prendergast, who is down in back play and will get a penalty as well. So a dream start for the Hornets. Well, they weren't really going too far on that set there, Troy, but they get the penalty. And remember, it's from where the ball landed, and all of a sudden, advantage Howick, and it'll be them who gets first chance at some points in this match.
Yeah, fair call. Mount will certainly give them good line speed, getting up on them. And Howard get a little bit of a nudge up the ladder here, so let's see what they come up with.
So back underway. Friend links with JT, Johnny Vuetti-Bell. Such a consistent performer for this team over the years. This is Brandon Lee now bumping the ball forward and does well to get back onto his front. Now we've got another penalty for a flop. So 2 penalties in a row for the Mount Albert Lions, and another set of 6 coming up here for the Hornets. This will be a real test of Mount Albert's line early on. Williams with the first carry, charges the ball forward and just turns his back at the last moment. Finds his front as well, as he does more often than not. Balls come loose, another penalty. Natane V this time pinged, and we're going to have time off for a talking to. Well, that didn't take long.
Yeah, he had 3 on him. He's a strong lad.
Let's have a listen in here. 3 in a row is the call. Let's tidy it up. Of course, Aidan Ackland, the new captain of the Mount Albert Lions team. So forward goes Tyler Slade. Friend jumps out, goes short to Brandon Lee, who burrows but will be held just short. Right on top of the line here. Friend shuffles to the right. We've lost the ball temporarily there. And we've got 10 in the bin. 10 in the bin, and that looks to me like Tika Lilinga, who has been sent, 4 penalties in a row. He did warn them, and we've got an early sim binning. So Lilinga in the bin. More pressure coming on the Lions now. Down to 12 men for the next 10 minutes. So Friend. Radic. Goes out to the left. This is Royden Gillett burrowing low. The Lions doing well to hold on for the time being. Gillett now becomes the dummy half. Ball got hit in movement. Radic now steps and is taken down. Friend. Williams. Space on the right-hand side. Howick Hornets step back in. We've got our first try of 2020. McMillan waits for confirmation. Drayden Sorensen will get the scoring going. Nice little jink back on the inside. Mount Albert Lions with a stretched line down to 12 men. And it is the Hornets who strike first. Nice little move here, and Troy will talk you through the replay, but nice work from young Sorensen. Just took the impact there and then did enough to get over.
Absolutely, and as Corey rightly pointed out, back-to-back penalties, getting the march on down there, just constant pressure, and then Mount Albert letting themselves down a little bit. Somebody gets binned and can't afford to be one man short, and they went coast to coast on that. They tried to the left and then spread it back to the right and found enough space, and young Sorensen had enough strength just to get that one across the line as we wait for the kick to come.
So stepping in, Radic, a noted goal kicker, and nails the first one. Howick Hornets lead 6-0 over the Mount Albert Lions. Howick Hornets, sponsored by Programmed Scaffolding. It's their lead sponsor, and Russell Gordon for the Mount Albert Lions. Other sponsors to mention for the Hornets is the home team today: McCamish Metals, BSR Concrete, PIC Insurance, Scaffold Connect, and of course the firm. That is their old boys club, who put plenty into the club each year as well. So Aidan Eklund to get us back underway. 6.5 gone. It's the Hornets who lead by 6. Radic brings it in, and watch Clayton Williams wind up. Throws a little pass late at the line, and now there's something on out wide. Royden Gillett beats one. Gillett now stepping back inside, but it's a good tackle from Eklund. Just does enough to slow him down. Eventually gets thrown off, but help's arrived by then. Shuffled on at the line. Cries of forward from the Mount Albert faithful, not forthcoming from referee McMillan. Friend comes back through the middle of the park. This is Jazz Nahumain, a constant figure in this forward pack over the last couple of seasons. Experienced campaigner, fighting for a quick play of the ball. Charging forward now is Tyler Slade. Friend jumps out again. This time links with Brandon Lee. Friend will go short side now. The Hornets looking to work it again. Prendergast steps back inside. Loose ball. Recovered by Howick, but that'll be a handover. So the Hornets again going down that right-hand side. They obviously like what they see down there and weren't far off that time, Troy.
Yeah, the thing that struck me is Jordan Friend really probing a lot out of the dummy half play the ball area. He's certainly putting them under pressure. So here's Mount Albert's first response, and still with only 12 men on the field, so they're going to have to be doing double time here.
Yeah, and the key for them, of course, just hold the ball and try and let that clock tick away. Here's Natane V, who was the lock of the year last year in the Fox. Johnny Falilu-Amalio stealing some metres there. That's a really good run. That is his strength. Back centre field they come. Eklund on the football. Puts one up towards the skies. Chase looks pretty good from Mount Albert, and pressure on at the back. It's allowed to bounce, but arriving just in time to clean up was Lola Selo, who steps through and then throws a worldly pass up over the top. They're going to try their luck down the right-hand side again, and they're into a little bit of space here, using this numbers advantage to full effect right now are the Howick Hornets. They're 45 out from the line. They head back in field now. Vueti Bao spots up again, little change of direction. This is clever play so far from Howick. Lee gets whacked for his troubles. They're 30 out from the line, getting closer to centre field now. You can see Clayton Williams barking some orders there. Radic goes to the line. Links with Lolasilo at the back. Steps back. That's play on. No one touched it that I saw, and referee McMillan agrees. Nahumain now taking the ground. Friend. Prendergast will kick. Chase on now, in behind, and Mount Albert do just enough. It's Marcus Fraser arriving to swat away the breadcrumb on that occasion. And we'll have a dropout. More pressure coming for the Mount Albert Lions. 9.5 minutes gone. It is the Hornets who lead by 6.
Yeah, Hornets did really well there in that set. They certainly mowed down some meterage. And, they've got to capitalise as much as they can with having, one of the Lions players in the bin. A little bit more pressure coming up.
So back underway off the boot of Ackland, and that will go 40 after the bounce. Slade. Williams goes up over the top. Friend dummies out to the right, heads back towards the middle of the park. Tyler Slade taken down in front of the SAS uprights. They're close again now, the Howick Hornets. Radic, looping ball over the top, but it's picked off. And now Corey Sita's off to the races. There's cover coming across. I don't think they'll catch him. Corey Sita, he's got one to beat coming across now. Still going, Corey Sita. Is he going to get there? No, he won't. Pulled down just in time. What a brilliant tackle. Liam Prendergast it is who saves the day for the Hornets. They're 2 metres short of the line. Can Howick get back and reset their line? Looping ball over the top. Set upon straight away. Fraser rushes the dummy half. Gets pushed out of the way by the winger. Bumping carry and going close there is Teal. Falilo Malio centralises. Natane V. Falilo Malio out of dummy half. Short is the call. Last play coming up now. Watch out for the dart from V. Instead goes out the back. Links with his half. Aidan Ackland. Up high it goes. And Lolasilo takes that one with ease in the end, despite the pressure. And what about that, Troy? It looked like a try for all money for Corey Sita as he streaked away, but Liam Prendergast just refused to give up. Huge play.
Absolutely, try-saving effort there, and certainly keeps them in the hunt now as Howick Hornets start to grind it out inside the 20 to the 30. Looking for the quick play the ball.
Jumping out now is Alan Neolevu. Ball is loose. That's going to be called a knock-on. Jethro Friend, you can see there, just trying to calm the troops down in the background. Tony Tuia about to get his boarding pass.
We'll certainly see the dynamics change a wee bit when this big character comes onto the field. I dare say he'll be giving a wee bit of guidance to the Mount Albert pack there, Corey.
Nothing they haven't heard before, I'm sure.
Big shout out to our major sponsors, SAS Sporting Apparel, the major sponsors of the Fox Memorial here at the Auckland Rugby League.
So Fraser with the feed. Tane V collects from the back, and this is Tiu, the Hibiscus Coast flyer from last year. Scored a number of tries, as John Ackland pointed out in the pre-match interview. In the second division last year, had a great year under Brian McLennan, and now gets his chance in one of the best teams in Auckland. Good bumping carry forward there from Amoni Tafui, who's had a pretty solid opening. Still a fair bit of defence already, the Mount Albert Lions. Still a man down, I think. Ackland with a show, with a go. Beautiful. Aidan Ackland. Take your hat off. Preston Ricky will be the man that scores it. But genius from Aidan Ackland. That won't be the last time I say that this year. And it is Preston Ricky who goes over for Mount Albert's first, and they hit back. It's 6 points to 4. Kick to come, 13 and a half gone.
And having a look at the SAS Sporting replay here, really good to see that they managed to execute this well. Get 4 points on the board with only 12 players on the field. That certainly gives you a morale boost, and certainly sort of demonstrates that Mount Albert know how to play football at the line. And John Ackland's certainly had them running around hard down at Fowles Park.
You love to see a second rower hitting the ball like that, don't you? There's great vision from Aidan Ackland as well, just to know that he'd be there. Of course, Preston Ricky's a player that's played at the higher levels with the Warriors as well. Really talented youngster. Adds plenty to what is already a great forward pack. So Ackland now to attempt the conversion, and Mount Albert back to their full complement. Lilinga re-enters the field after 10 minutes in the sin bin. 14 and a half gone. It's gone fairly quick, and there's been plenty of action. 2 tries already as Ackland looks to tie the ball game up. Kick is good. 6 points apiece. And Mount Albert, well, after leaking that try shortly after the sin bin, responded really, really well. And it all started from a drop ball on halfway from the Howick Hornets that time. The Lions held their nerve and converted nicely down that right-hand corridor. Pretty interesting to see the Howick Hornets certainly favouring that right edge in attack. We'll see if that becomes a trend throughout this game. Both teams now, I dare say, having a bit of a breather. A bit of a shock on the lungs, you would think. The pre-season hasn't really been a pre-season as such. They got a couple of weeks in, maybe a trial game or 2.
Just trying to see over the far side there, Corey, is the Lions player out of the den?
Yep, back to
Back
13 on
field?
13.
Okay,
Lilina
from there.
has re-entered,
Okay.
so...
Big thank you to Pete's Filming, our in-goal action, as part of our CTAS live stream crew, as we're underway with more action here at Paparoa Park.
Tafui. Plenty of talent on the field today. 6 Team of the Year members from the Fox. You had Royden Gillett in the centres, Aidan Ackland in the halves, and then Jethro Friend, of course, took that hooker spot with Clayton Williams and Natane V in there as well. Natane V was playing with Mangere East last year. John Ackland, Coach of the Year as well. Shift the ball out to the left now, Mount Albert. Falilua Malio to Fui. The line's up quick though. Breaks out of the first one. Gets an offload away. Plays on now, and there's space down the left-hand side. Oh, Tiu wanted to hold on. Could see he was into a bit of space, but just dropped his lollies at the last minute there, and we'll have a handover ball 40 metres off the line. Good to see both teams wanting to play nice and expansive early on.
Absolutely. Everyone's getting a chance to throw it around. And, both tries have actually come off, stretching the ball from edge to edge. Looks like a jersey change going on out there, Corey. So we'll try and keep track of that as the boys get their tops back on.
Yeah, I think what happened was the 2 second rowers went out in the wrong jersey, so I think perhaps our match managers made them do a jersey swap there.
Okay.
Yeah, that is the case. So Preston Ricky back into the 11 by the look of it, and it'll be Isaiah Vangana wearing the 12.
Hornets feed the scrum, and away we go.
Royden Gillett, a player that's played at those higher levels with the Wentworthville Magpies. Of course, he appeared on that NRL rookie show a number of years ago as well, which proved to be a bit of a launching pad for his career. He's returned home to Auckland to have a really successful time. He's played for Mount Albert as well, Royden Gillett, but found his home at the Howick Hornets as we see the first carry from Tony Tuia for 2020. Friend goes to Radic, moves play on, but the line's up quickly. That's nice from Falilua Malio. It's a quick play of the ball, though, tangled up in there. Lolasilo, who has been influential early on for the Howick Hornets. 18 gone. We locked up at 6 points apiece. Lolasilo gets to his play of the ball. Radic will go high off the boot and pressure on at the back here for Corey Sita. Goes up and it's dropped. Now, is that going to be called a knock on? Yes, it will.
Klein tried to catch it.
You just sort of got caught up in the legs there at the end. But it will be a Howick feed.
I have to say, this has been a pretty fast-paced game.
Few influential players missing for both teams. We saw Trent Wallace having the run around in reserves along with Sulla, Falilua Malio for the Mount Albert Lions, and Trent Bishop still to come back for the Hornets as well. So some talent still to come back. Prendergast had to reach low. Now Lolasio, they're into space on this right-hand side. They're in again, the Hornets. Made it look easy in the end. It is Alan Neil-Levu, but hang on. Going to be called back, and forward pass, I think, is the ruling. Let's take a look here, and yet forward would be the call. Just that final pass from Lolasilo, which has been ruled to have been forward. Neil-Levu knew it straight away. So Mount Albert dodge a bullet after the Corey Sita era. Lilinga now dancing, getting out of one, but won't beat the cover arriving, I think, from Brandon Lee. In fact, it's the 4, Sorensen. Already got a try to his name today. Flip past out the back. Preston Ricky, another of the try scorers. Victor Afoa chopped down. And there's a flop in there. So penalty, Mount Albert. And their chance now to turn the screws and put a bit of pressure on. 20 and a half minutes gone, 6 points apiece. In this game, living up to all expectations early on. Ackland will kick for touch. With any luck, this might land right on top of our cameramen here at Paparoa Park. Four. 5 short of halfway now the Lions. Ackland barking instructions in the background. Tafui. Had some solid carries early on. Natane V shakes out of the first one. He's got Ackland on his shoulder. Won't need him. He'll find Lalinga looming in support. And the Lions hit the front. Looked like Howick had scored just moments ago down in the right-hand corner. And just like that, off the back of a penalty, the Mount Albert Lions use it to full effect. And look at this from Natane V. Just hits the line here, bursts straight through. Had options either side. And from there, too easy. Natane V sums it up nicely and finds Lalinga looming in support.
Yeah, and from there it was just an easy coast straight underneath the SAS Sporting bolsters. Nice little touchdown there. And really, that's probably the first try we've seen straight up the middles. You know, nice little offload and a deceptive piece of speed. Good strength. And like you said, Corey, you know, he had options both inside, outside. And 4 points on the board as we wait for kick to come.
We saw Natane V used as both a dummy half and lock last year, but maybe a planned permanent move into the middle. Looks like he may have added a bit of bulk as well for the rigours of the middle defensively, but it was just a great carry that time. As Ackland looks to convert from in front, and he does not make mistakes from there. It is the Russell Gordon Mount Albert Lions 12. Programmed scaffolding, Howick Hornets 6, 22 and a half gone here in round 1 of the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership. Great to be bringing you the footy once again, not only to screens all around Auckland, but across the South Pacific as well. So a shout out to our Pacific Island viewers.
So the Hornets are having a little bit of comms now, just in regards to regathering themselves. And, you know, my first sort of vibe in that 20-odd minutes, it was Howick's way, but, you know, Mount Albert have certainly managed to turn it on when they needed to. And here they come again off the back fence.
Preston Ricky thought about the pass and said takes a tackle, but there's 3 there. Tony Tuia involved along with Tyler Slade. And a knock on. So just when it felt like they were building a bit of momentum, a knock on, the Hornets rejoice.
Yeah, he sort of jumped out to the right side and then went back across the ruck and didn't buy enough time for the runner coming on, and just too much pressure on the line there. Let's wait for the big packs to get set.
So Radic. So out goes Prendergast, first receiver again. They'll go down that right edge. Neo level into a little bit of space. Look out. He's got some wheels on him, but the Mount Albert cover arrives. Ball is flicked back. And Lalinga now looks like he's scooped that up. And now we've got a foot race on down the left edge. End-to-end stuff. Nehumi Tiu shakes out a 1. Speaking of wheels, that kid's got plenty. Now surely that tackle's been complete. We've gone close to a penalty there. Lalinga, there's players coming back who must be offside. It's all a bit of a mess in the ruck there. They're 35 out from the line. Natane V is the first receiver. Goes back in field. Has that ball been held on to? Just. Boy, he's done well there, Isaiah Vangana. Falilu Amalio to Natane V. Ackland back inside. Lalinga fending and jumping his way through a couple more. Very rarely gets tackled first time, this guy. Natane V, it is calling the shots. He's again the first receiver. This is an interesting tactic. They go Ackland, spreading it out now to the right-hand side. And Ricky, you could see, wanted to involve Ropati. Not on that occasion. This is the last. Looping ball over the top. Marcus Fraser dribbles a kick in behind. It's spilled. Fraser will win the race. Marcus Fraser, Johnny on the spot. McMillan points to the spot, confirms the try, and it comes off an error from Tarkin Lolasilo. Just lost sight of that ball, and Marcus Fraser had the nous to follow in on that kick despite getting a bit of a shot from Jethro Friend. And dare say Troy probably won't score an easier try.
Oh, mate, it set up beautifully off that left-hand upright. And certainly Johnny on the spot, but a well-weighted kick. And you create your opportunities, and he certainly created one there. Well done. Just talking about momentum only a few moments ago. And Mount Albert, you know, back-to-back, all of a sudden we've got a 10-point spread there, 16 points to 6 as we wait for the kick to come. And there's now a conference on for the Hornets, just in back play.
That was a really great play from Mount Albert down there. They looked like they were going to pile the player into touch. The ball comes loose, and it was Lalinga that broke down the left. Tew just about got away. But there's a real purpose to everything Mount Albert does in attack, isn't there? And you can see they obviously want to keep linking back on the inside and trying to work this Howick Hornets pack around. So Ackland, again, is good from in front. And it is the Russell Gordon, Mount Albert Lions, who lead 18 points to 6.
Well, just want to give a big shout-out to young Ackland on behalf of Steeden, our official ball sponsor. That's the second one that's gone to the neighbours that we may not see. He's certainly clearing the fence down the end there. So a bit of Groundhog Day here for Howick. We're only here about the 23-minute mark, I believe. And, well, 3 minutes later, we're back after a try, getting ready to reset.
Moses Ongi, his first taste of footy for 2020. Strong carry as well. Legs flying all over the place. So both teams going to their interchange now, and some fresh legs on the park. Natane V appealing for a quick play of the ball. Comes back into the middle where Amoni Tafui is waiting, and another good strong carry forward. They're only 5 short of halfway already here, the Mount Albert Lions. Looking very sharp indeed. Now, what's the call here?
Messi.
Knock on. And that one probably could have gone either way. Mount Albert certainly appealing it. So scrum will pack down now. 5 metres into Howick's half. Got to say, great to have the best match officials around involved in these games as well. Chris McMillan, along with Anthony Elliott, the two leading men in terms of middle referees in the Auckland competition. And as I touched on earlier, they boast that experience over in Australia. This is Taylor Polder, back after a season or two with Papakura, to Tuia, who is chopped down. Quick play of the ball. Friend
nice
jumps
run.
out and has a little run, and then links with Tyler Slade. Lined up heavy to the left here, the Hornets, but Friend says we'll go down the short side again. Prendergast to Sorensen. Sorensen gets rid of one. Sorensen to Neulevu. Neulevu now do well to stay in the field of play and does well to get to ground. Sorensen will clear the ruck. It'll come back to the middle, and the kick goes in behind, but Lalinga on hand to clean it up and then dragged down by Lolasilo. Just off his line, but Howick are all about that right edge right now. Is where they've gone on almost every attacking raid. To be fair, young Sorensen looking very good. He's a strong young lad.
Yeah, great body upper strength there. Managed to hold him off, kept his feet, and that created a wee bit of uncertainty for the defence. But they managed to regather.
Isaiah Vangana. Penalty as well. So as we hit the half-hour mark, it's well and truly the Mount Albert Lions on top right now, and had to survive a bit of early adversity, if you weren't tuning in from the start. Foniteka Lelinga was sin binned very early in the match following a string of 4 straight penalties. He did leak 1 try while he was in the bin, but scored 1 as well. And since then, have scored further tries. The latest coming to Marcus Fraser off a clever little kick, which he regathered himself, following a drop from Lolasilo at the back. Now the Lions charging forward, and here's our first look at Hoani Rogers-Brown for today. Auckland Māori age grade representative. Really good player in the middle of the park. Here's Moses Ongi, the former Bay Roskell man. An Auckland rep a couple of years ago. Powerful runner and a great guy to be bringing off the bench at this stage of the game. Vangana with a little bit of footwork, wants an offload, finds Fraser, and Fraser shakes out of a couple. He's eventually taken the ground. Reece Charlie adding his weight in over the top. Back centre field they come. This is Ackland who shuffles on to Ricky. Ricky gets an offload as well. The second phase is hurting Howick right now, and Ackland, speaking of, gets another one out the back. Did well to reel that in the end there, Mount Albert. Cleaned up by Regan McLennan. Lelinga goes to the line, shakes out of it. Lelinga still going. Second phase again, but a bell ringer from Reece Charlie.
Yeah, stopping for the high five. Yeah, he stopped him in his tracks. And it was all momentum at that point.
They just couldn't stop the second phase, could they? There must have been probably 15 offloads in that set from the Mount Albert Lions. Certainly good footy to watch, and I don't mind that big hit from Reece Charlie either. We've missed this. Great to have the footy back. So the Hornets now look to ruck this ball out. Just short of 8 minutes left in the half. Radic, there's someone down in back play as well. Is that Brandon Lee? Try and catch the number there as he makes his way off the field. In fact, it's Tyler Slade who's down, I think. Tuia charging forward. They're 5 short of halfway now, the Hornets. Friend goes down the left-hand side to Radic, who throws across the face, finds Royden Gillett. Gillett shakes out and does well to get up and go again. Rory Ropati arrives to close down any second phase. The last play coming up now. Radic is the man on the football, and it's a high one off the boot. Lelinga the man under it. This will be a test. Oh, Williams! Clayton Williams making sure that Tika Lelinga remembers his face. Now the Mount Albert backs getting involved. High-paced, very physical game so far. Teal shaking out a one. Little jink in the footstep takes him up over halfway. He's looked very good in the touches he's had so far, the former Hibiscus Coast man. Natane V to Ongi. Ongi goes straight and hard. 40 out from the line. It is the Lions who lead 18-6. Natane V will jump into dummy half. Comes back to the middle. Ackland now. This one will have snow on it. Lolasilo under it. Takes it cleanly this time after the horrors of that earlier one, which he let go, leading to the Marcus Fraser try. Look at the footwork on this kid. Beats one, beats two. Ropati arrives to say he won't beat any more on this occasion. Charging run there by Tamati Gribble. Just 18 years of age. Williams straight and hard. Ricky went in with a solid contact. They're 5 short of the halfway line. 5 to go in the half. The Hornets looking to hit back right on the stroke of half time. Reece Charlie. Strong carry, keeps driving those legs. Last play coming up. Prendergast. Another high one off the boot. A tester for Lelinga. Lelinga drops it. Now the ball's loose, but this will be a penalty to Mount Albert. So the Lions will get a penalty here. There was interference in the lead up to the catch there. So Ackland kicks and finds touch. This Mount Albert team looking to add the Stormont Shield today to the Root Rooster, which they already have in their possession. That'll go on the line next week, I think it is, their first home game.
Yep.
Natane V, who is the dummy half with Falilua Malio off the field, who started at lock forward. Plenty of hooker options. Marcus Fraser, an accomplished number 9 as well. Natane V spots up and runs 5 or 7 metres before the experienced duo of Friend and Tui arrives to shut him down. Fraser to Ackland. Ackland shuffles on to Ricky. Ricky wants an offload and will get one, and that was knocked on from the Linga.
Just starting to mount a wee bit of pressure then with 2, weren't they? And it sort of just drifted forward.
So Howick in no rush to pack the scrum by the look of things.
There's probably 2 search parties still looking for the other 2 Steeden balls over the back as well. There we go, packing in.
Prendergast to Lolasilo. Former New Zealand touch representative, and it's not hard to see why. Svawiti Bell. Friend keeps it on this occasion and charges forward. 3 to go in the half. It is the Hornets trailing by 12 at this stage. Williams with a spirited carry. Regan McLennan joining in. Another of the pickups from Hibiscus Coast. Of course, he split his junior playing days, I think, between both the Hibiscus Coast and
Bump and run.
Mount Albert. His dad's 2 clubs as well.
Oh, what strength.
Last play coming up now for the Hornets. What have they got in the bag for this one? It'll go to Radic this time. He'll go to the line, plays out the back door. And easily shut down in the end by the Mount Albert Lions.
We just need a little bit more enterprisation there on the last play of the ball. Here comes Mount Albert now outside the 20.
Rogers Brown.
Big hit.
Hails from the Northern Wairoa Bulls Club. Marcus Fraser, he's had a good half, Marcus Fraser. We know him more as a dummy half, but slotting in nicely in the halves today. Ackland will drive this one downtown, and it's a good kick. It's going to go between winger and fullback. Is it going to hold up? Not quite. So almost a very good kick, but instead the Hornets come out and we'll get a restart here, and they should get a set in before half-time. Prendergast urging his players on for a quick play of the ball. Here's Sorensen. He really does look impressive out there in the centres. I'm looking forward to seeing this guy get a season of Fox footy behind him. What's this? A penalty?
Good speed on the play of the ball. Yes, managed the penalty.
So they want to take this quick here, the Hornets. By our count, a minute to play in the half. Prendergast will chew off as much as he can. Kicking that one over to the hill here at Paparoa Park. And look at that, great turnout. Nice day for footy, a little bit chilly now, but it's been beautiful all day, and the field's in really good nick as well. Friend to Williams. Williams straight and hard, but they meet fire with fire, and now a little bit of second phase hot potato stuff. Tuia tips over the top. Radic now stepping through. Radic now into space. One to beat Radic. He was looking for a friend, but no one hovering on his shoulder at that crucial minute. Niulevu darts. Niulevu needs to keep it alive. That's the siren. This will be the last play of the half. Wapati picks it off. And after all that excitement, we will go to the sheds, and it is the Mount Albert Lions well and truly in control at this stage. They lead this one 18 points to 6 over the Howick Hornets. A short break for us of about 10 minutes before we resume with the second half action here at Paparoa Park. You're joining us for the SAS Fox Memorial Premiership. We'll see you in a few minutes.
That's so funny, Troy.